Alright guys, you have two options now. Either you stay quiet and learn, or you get out of the room and go play FIFA. But honestly, I recommend you stay. Because what we are going to talk about today will not only help the girls, it will help you too. If you want to better understand your girlfriend, your wife, or any woman in one of the most sensitive phases of her life, then this episode will be valuable for you as well. Ladies, now it's your turn in the spotlight. In the app and in my personal training sessions, the ratio is usually around 50-50% between male and female clients. But when it comes to topics, well, girls, you are much more diverse. This episode also came from one of my lovely students. She asked, what if we talked about this as well? And about 10 seconds later, I already knew that this will become a video. Because today we are going to dive into a topic where there's still a lot of uncertainty, fear, misconception, and contradiction, and at the same time a real desire to make it a bit more bearable. On your side, there is the hustle, the pain, the jump from crying to laughing, and sometimes if someone annoys you just by breathing too loudly next to you on these days, the kitchen knife may also appear. Guys, in those moments, just step out and from a safe distance start throwing pieces of chocolate. For more highly professional advice like this, make sure to follow me. Today, we are going to talk about training and movement during menstruation. About what is we're doing in this phase. Should you train or should you skip it? And if yes, how? Is it better this way, or are you only hurting yourself? What counts as normal and when you should rather rest? Why it is that in 1 month everything goes smoothly and in another the whole world collapses on you at the very first squat? Why you feel weak, or why sometimes it feels like you simply do not feel your body at all? Why the scale shows even 3 to 5 pounds more during these few days, and whether there's such a thing as good training during menstruation, or this is a completely misunderstood concept. All of this will find its place in today's episode. Biology, hormones, physiology without taboos. We will go through what happens in your body at this time, why you feel what you feel, and how you can get as much as possible out of this situation every single month within the limits the day allows. This is the topic we are going to take apart piece by piece today, and then put it back together in a way that finally gives you a clear picture. Ladies, can we start? What happens in your body before and during menstruation? In order to answer all the questions of today's video, first we need to understand what's actually happening in your body in the days leading up to menstruation and at the beginning of the cycle itself. Because if you see this clearly, then the weakness, the bloating, the fluctuating energy levels, the mood swings, and that familiar feeling that during training you simply cannot find your own body will suddenly all make sense. Most women feel at this time that something is wrong with them, when in reality it's exactly the opposite. Everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to. After the middle of the cycle, following ovulation, two very important hormones start to change in you: estrogen and progesterone. I'm not just throwing these names at you because I know in many cases they don't really mean anything. I'm going to tell you what they do, because that is how you will understand your body's reactions. Estrogen is the hormone that gives you that sense of lightness and stability in the first half of the cycle, which many women really love about themselves in those days. You feel energetic, you can concentrate easily, you handle everyday life better, and your workouts usually feel more smooth. In the days leading up to menstruation, however, the level of this hormone slowly starts to drop. This is when you may start to feel that something is off. You are less energetic, your mood is not the same, and it feels as if something were missing. Progesterone at the same time rises in the second half of the cycle. This is a calming hormone that slows the system down and prepares your body for a potential implantation. Right before menstruation though, this hormone suddenly drops. This is the point where many women feel as if someone had unplugged their power source. You feel more tired, more sensitive, and you don't really feel like doing anything. From my own experience in past relationships, I perceive this moment like when a Dementor appears in Harry Potter and literally sucks the life out of one of the characters. I don't envy you at all in those days. So this is not a character flaw, it's not a drama. This is your body's completely natural biological response. If that weren't enough, bloating also shows up in parallel, and with it often comes panic. Oh my god, I'm huge like a whale. I've heard that a few times. But relax, this is also a hormonal reaction. Your body is holding on to water at this time, not fat, water. That's why it can happen that from one day to the next you see an extra 3 to 5 pounds on the scale while your body hasn't actually gained any fat. Let me say it again, you are not getting fat. No panic. It's like putting on a slightly thicker coat for a few days. You didn't grow. Your body is simply retaining more water and it will disappear just as quickly as it came. What happens when menstruation actually starts? Many people don't know this, but during menstruation your body is carrying out an intense biological process. Literal physical work. It breaks down and expels the endometrium, the lining of the uterus. This costs energy, a lot of energy. And since your energy is limited, very often it's not your training that gets the bigger slice, but the basic internal process, because your body prioritizes. That's why in 1 month you feel strong and in another you reach the end of the warm-up and say, that's it, you would rather die in bed. I know it often feels like it, but menstruation itself isn't punishment. It's your body doing a deep clean. In the earlier part of the cycle, the endometrium builds up nicely. If there's no implantation, your body says, alright, let's start again with a clean slate. That's why the bleeding starts. And it's important to know that menstrual blood isn't just blood, it's a complex process in which shedding uterine lining, tissue fragments, fluids, and blood leave the body. The uterus uses contraction to make this happen. It's like trying to wring out a wet towel. This is what causes most of the cramps. The stronger the contractions, the more energy it takes. The effect of blood loss on energy levels. The amount of bleeding is different for everyone, and the more blood you lose, the greater the chance that you will feel weak. Not because you're having a moody day, but because less oxygen gets to the muscles, circulation slows, and your body's focus isn't on training, it's on conducting the biological processes. That's why you get out of breath faster, your muscles burn sooner, you feel more dizzy or simply don't feel your body. All of this is completely normal. Why is every month different? The intensity and length of menstruation, the cramps, and the mood all depend on stress, sleep, lifestyle, nutrition, inflammatory processes, training load, and how demanding that particular month has been. That's why one cycle feels easy and the next one begs for mercy with every single movement. How does everything return to normal rhythm? As the bleeding ends, hormones start to move back toward a more stable level. Estrogen begins to rise again. Progesterone disappears from the picture. And many women already say in the first 1 or 2 days after, okay, I feel like I'm coming back to life. I can feel my energy again. I can reconnect to my body. This isn't an accident. This is the biological engine restarting. Water retention fades. Bloating disappears. The scale slowly slips back to its usual range and order is restored. Muscle connection, body awareness, and performance all become much stronger again. This is why I wanted to start with this, because before I say anything about training, rules, or recommendations, it was important that you first understand what's happening inside you, because this takes away the self-blame, the frustration, the guilt, and that feeling that something is wrong with you. But nothing is wrong. Everything's fine. And now that you see the full picture, we can move on to how you can train in this phase in a way that actually supports your body instead of going against it. Should you train during menstruation or rather skip it? Now comes one of the key questions of the video. So, should I train now or should I just forget the whole thing? And I know that very often it's not only the pain that makes you unsure, but also the fact that you simply can't tell whether your body is saying, go easy on me, or just I'm tired but this would do me good. So before I say anything about what it's worth doing, I want you to understand how to make this decision well. In the first days of menstruation, movement can often do you a lot of good. Not because you have to perform above your limits or prove anything, but because this is how your body works. Movement gets the circulation going, releases endorphins that make you feel a little bit better, eases cramps, and sends a message to your brain that says, okay, we are safe, we are functioning. That's why so many women say, when I finally forced myself to move, I actually felt better. But then there's the other signal. When besides the pain you feel dizzy, you start sweating cold, you get extremely weak, or you feel as if your body were trying to piece itself together on the inside and there was nothing left on the outside. This isn't "I don't feel like it." This is the consequence of blood loss and reduced oxygen transport. In these moments, your muscles literally don't get enough oxygen and you feel like you are fighting for your life. That's why it would be dangerous to force anything in this state. This is where everything is decided. At that fine line, you have to learn to tell apart. In order for someone to find what works for her during menstruation, she has to test herself, not cling to a single routine month after month, but try out how her body responds to different things. Maybe a comfortable, easy training feels good, or a walk takes the edge off. Maybe a careful, slow run helps kickstart circulation. Maybe some very gentle mobility work is enough. But it can also happen that on that particular day, nothing feels right and you simply need to rest. You can't decide these things with your head alone, only through experience. And we are not only talking about gym training. Every form of movement is a different kind of load. This is the essence of training during menstruation. How well you can cooperate with your own body. For that you need information, biological understanding, and practical self-observation. We cleared this up now, because in the next block I will tell you exactly which type of movement tend to work the best, on which days, at what intensity, and how you can turn all of this into a safe, supportive system for yourself. Training women has always had a special place in my work. I've been working with female clients for a very, very long time, and by now I clearly see how much more attention, a different attitude, and different kind of support the female body needs. Not only physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. I see what expectations you live under, what load you carry in everyday life, and how differently your body responds to the same stress compared to a man's body. And this matters to me. It really matters. This is exactly why I created a completely women-focused program inside the Final Form app, with workouts that take into account your needs, the way the female body can be shaped, and the things you want to see on yourself. From morning full body wake up sessions to lower body shaping workouts and lightning fast leg days, you will also find a recipe collection, nutrition guide, and mindset section, because for your progress is always a bit more complex and all-encompassing. If you want to train with me, if you want to work in a system that's finally built around you, then besides the 20-week food transformation and other system, you will find the women's program in the Final Form app. Download it from the App Store or Google Play. Start with the free workouts, then move to premium or the currently discounted yearly membership. Join the team and help us strengthen the women's side of the community. How to get the most out of these few days. We've arrived at the most important part of the episode. Let's see how we can get the most out of this situation. From research, we already know that when you do light, controlled movement during menstruation, your body strengthens certain neuromuscular connections that simply stay in the background on other days of the cycle. It's like organizing a massive wardrobe. It's not about lifting heavy, it's about putting everything in its place. This is why light, resistance-based movements, for example with resistance bands or light dumbbells and bodyweight exercises, are ideal in this phase. The load isn't too high, but there's enough resistance to train your muscles well while keeping you safe. But before I say anything else, here's the core principle. This isn't the time to go for personal records. These few days, if you are not a professional athlete, are about supporting regeneration. In practice, this looks like this. The first 2 days, full body reset. Full body, mobility-focused training with minimal load. Do bodyweight exercises or use a light resistance band. Choose a slow, controlled tempo. Avoid explosive, dynamic moves. Do mobility for the hips, lower back, and chest. Go for a light walk around 5,000 to 6,000 steps, even split into 2 parts, or at most choose a very easy jog if it feels good. 25 to 30 minutes of movement is more than enough on these 2 days. This works because after a full body light routine, peripheral blood flow increases, contractions ease up, and oxygen supply to the muscles improves. Because of that, everyone feels the day is a little lighter after some movement. From the 3rd day, your body slowly starts to switch back on. Hormones are no longer pulling you downward, oxygen transport is more stable, and most women feel, Okay, I'm starting to feel like myself again. This is the point where you can gradually return to your usual training structure. From the third day on, closing back up. From here on, if you are more advanced and you are used to it, you can start working with muscle group splits again. If you're a beginner, stay with full body sessions. Use medium resistance band. At this stage, you can slowly bring back more dynamic bodyweight exercises. Your heart rate can be higher, but still don't work at maximum intensity. You can raise your daily step count to 6,000 to 8,000, again, even split into 2 walks. If you run, you can work at about 60 to 70% effort. You can increase your training time to 35 to 45 minutes. This works because according to research, the slow rise of estrogen after the first few days improves neuromuscular coordination, body awareness, focus and energy levels. In simple terms, you feel your body better again and you're capable of working harder. Finally, let's say a few words about nutrition as well, because this is just as important in this phase as movement itself. And even though we could easily make a whole separate video on this, I still want you to have a clear, simple picture of what to focus on the most. Your body handles nutrients very differently during menstruation. From research, we know that on these few days, the body uses more magnesium, iron, and vitamin C. You need iron because of blood loss. Vitamin C helps iron absorption and stabilizes the immune system. And magnesium has been shown to reduce cramps, help your muscles relax, and make your mood more stable. And even a small extra amount of sea salt can improve circulation and energy, especially if you feel a bit dizzy or weak. Fluids are literally the key at this time. Because of water retention, many people think they should drink less, when the opposite is true. The more you drink, the easier it is for your body to get rid of excess fluid. And macros. This is where most people go wrong during menstruation. It's particularly worth keeping your protein intake stable, just as on normal days. Your body is regenerating and your muscles still need to be fed. With carbohydrates, however, it's completely normal if you need a little bit more. Due to hormonal changes, insulin sensitivity fluctuates and many women simply function better, both mentally and physically, if they eat slightly more quality carbohydrates in this phase. You don't need to binge, you don't need to overeat, but a little higher carb intake supports circulation, energy, and even your mood. You can calmly accept this because it's biologically justified. The good news about fats is that you don't have to overthink them. Keep them stable, roughly at the same level as on other days of the cycle. During menstruation, your body won't use fat as its main energy source, but much more so carbohydrates. This is why I always say, in this phase, very low carb does more harm than good. Your body isn't your enemy, it's simply working. If you give it enough water, minerals, a bit more carbohydrates and stable protein, you will get through these days much more smoothly. Snacking. The truth is that craving snacks during menstruation isn't a sign of weakness, it has biological reason. As estrogen and progesterone drop, blood sugar regulation changes. Your body uses glucose faster, is more sensitive to fluctuations, and therefore sends a strong signal that says, I need energy. This is where the craving for sweets comes in. The chocolate bars, the Häagen-Dazs, followed 5 minutes later by crying, "Oh no! I'm so fat!" I've seen this. But here comes the sad truth. Get ready, it will hurt. Sweets can actually improve your mood in the short term because they boost serotonin levels and stabilize you a little. In the long term though, they make things worse because they create new blood sugar swings that can lead to more cramps, more fatigue, and more mood swings. So what's the right solution? It's not to ban everything completely. It's to choose the right form. In this phase, carbohydrates are best when they are slow digesting, paired with protein, and don't come from quick, sugary junk. For example, Greek yogurt with berries and a little honey, banana with peanut butter or almond butter, oatmeal with cinnamon, some fruit, and protein powder, dark chocolate between 35 or 70% cocoa, just a few squares, protein shake with oats or a handful of strawberries. This stabilizes blood sugar, reduces the ups and downs, and makes your day much more balanced. This part is very important. The goal is not to fight against your body. The goal is to wisely give it what it actually needs. This section isn't about changing everything. It's about understanding what you really need, and once you understand that, everything becomes much simpler. Stay stronger, and thank you for being with me in this episode. If after all this you are now asking yourself, okay, but how do I turn all this into a system? That's what I answered inside the Find a Form app. I developed separate women's programs, separate women's training series, and separate women's progression paths. Because I've been working with women for a very long time, and I can see exactly what they need, not only physically but mentally as well. In the women's programs you will find resistance band and bodyweight workouts from ultra beginner to advanced, gentle progressions, mobility, a recipe collection, and a nutrition guide. In other words, everything that supports you even on these days. So if you would like to try this system and train with me, download the Find a Form app from the App Store or Google Play. Join the team and build your own rhythm. Your body can do more than you think, and if you learn to cooperate with it, you will become a little stronger every single month. Ladies, now it's your turn. I want to hear your experiences. Write down everything that could help the women of the Find a Form community. Practical tips, insights, those little tricks or realizations that really worked for you. Share this video with each other or with your partner so they know how to help, and so that as many women as possible can start thinking more consciously about their own body and build their lifestyle in a holistic way. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, because that way you won't miss the next episodes and you will directly support my work. Here we are not talking about lifestyle, but about a complete system where nutrition, training, recovery, and mental optimization all work together. We place special focus on gender, age, and those specific factors that shapes your training and your everyday life. If you want to know which 3 resistance band exercises can fix and make your back workouts much more effective, then click on this video right here or choose from the playlist. Thank you so much for being here with me. This was Adam Deres. I will see you in the next episode. And don't forget, training is just the first step. The real change is you.